This is less of a retrospective and more of a please go listen to this, you don't know what you're missing. So Zac Brown Band, remember those guys? Remember the guys who did the masterpiece Swayze?
I can't be your Tom Cruise, bitch. I'm Patrick Swayze.
Ah, see, now you remember. So while the reputation as a pioneer for innovation in the country genre is pretty much destroyed, I thought I'd go over one piece of Zac Brown media I've yet to talk about on the channel. So after their well-received album Uncaged released in 2012, Zac Brown Band was arguably at the peak of their stardom. No one could deny their power both financially and artistically. Their first 3 albums went down as instant classics for the country genre. The group basically had the rep and the bank to do whatever they wanted creatively. It was a rare thing to see artists have absolute creative freedom given just how toxic the Nashville industry can be. So Zac Brown got in contact with Dave Grohl of both the legendary rock band Nirvana and the critically acclaimed Foo Fighters. And essentially they all got together to form a jam session mini album that would be known as the Grohl Sessions, becoming their most raw studio project to date. Not a lot of production was applied, as Grohl has stated computers were not used in the process of making the album. It was almost like Dave Kopp's production style, but to an even greater extent. And the result was 4 songs released near the end of 2013. So what makes this so special, you might ask? Well, for those unfamiliar with this EP, it's honestly one of the best collections of music country has ever seen. I hesitate to say it's Zac Brown Band's best work, but I will confidently say it's their most experimentative work to date. And that is honestly saying a lot, knowing how out there the group can be at times. Today, I just really want to show you, to quote another wise YouTuber, how this is the best shit you've never seen. This level of quality doesn't just surpass the mainstream, but it's right up there with some of the best work the alt and red dirt scenes had in 2013. Experimentation during this era was pretty much out the window, and emulation and copying one another was in. So it's absolutely marvelous to see such a bold and underappreciated album like this exist. Dave Grohl was the lead drummer for the record, and you could tell almost immediately that the percussive intensity has been turned up to 11. I can guarantee if you go back to the other Zac Brown records that the level of percussion, while great, doesn't even compare to the sheer magnificence on display. Not just in the actual musical performances, his work as a producer is outstanding on this album. The texture on the vocals and acoustics is just pitch perfect. And you get note of this with the very first second of the opening track, All Right. The guitar is rough, gritty. It's almost like you could feel it touching you, which is even more impressive given the setting and the little amount of technical production at work here. Truth be told, everything has been turned up to 11. The vocal power, the level of musicianship, the songwriting, the harmonies. They truly just let loose in the best way possible. The harmonies here pop more than anything else they've done, and Uncaged had some top tier stuff too, but the background vocals add so much more to the emotion Zac provides in both his own voice and the lyricism on display. It's truly hard to tell what album has the most expressive performance from Zac, as it's all fantastic throughout almost all his discography. But I think you can, and I will, make the case that as a vocalist, Zac is in his prime on this album. The way he builds into spectacular sequences like on Let It Rain is just phenomenal. Starting out slow and melodramatic and building to this point where his voice is about to crack right when he talks about his fingers bleeding. It's all just genius and perfectly choreographed. Songwriting wise, it's still as great as you expect during this era of their career. All Right is even an Eric Church co-write for all you Eric fans out there, name-dropping names of the biblical figures like Sodom and Gomorrah in a way that uses faith in music quite effectively, saying they'll be washed away or punished. It's a neat tie-in I rarely see songs tackle. Let It Rain is about the cleansing of demons, and it's so compelling, and it's everything the album was supposed to be, all in one song, and it came out 6 years before that. A brilliant and utterly passionate song with so much personality. Then there's their cover of the Wood Brothers' The Muse, which surprisingly ties quite beautifully and brilliantly to Zac Brown's life at the time of the release, with him being a father. It's romantic, bombastic, in the ways the original rendition wasn't. Day for the Dead is a groovy take on the holiday of Dia de los Muertos. A surprising thing I've noticed with this collection is a bit of a story, mostly surrounding the theme of moving forward with a clean slate, with All Right being the event that incites this, and Let It Rain being the cleansing of oneself. And it also tying into Day for the Dead. I really like that they put that in, despite it being a 4-song collection. Experimental wise, like I previously said, the monsters have been unleashed and it's incredible. It's almost like Zac Brown told the fiddler Lee Martini to just go off with no filter. No catering to wide audiences, just make the music you want. He's one of the best fiddlers country has seen in this era of the genre, and his work, even on the bad albums, is displayed beautifully. And it's the same case for this. It's rootsy and expressive, but it goes beyond the traditions of the country genre that feels so new for the time. Let It Rain sees him change his musical direction with this almost nautical solo. His musical phrases in the Muse feel almost enchanting. AJ Gant was a guest musician on All Alright, and oh my god, his guitar work is fantastic! And truth be told, unlike anything I've ever heard in a country song, this is a collection of music that ventures out into new horizons and uses country instrumentation and inputs it into new genres. All Alright is essentially an R&B song with an exceptional country ensemble. Let It Rain is a thrumming rock anthem that feels like it was plucked out of Grohl's work. Day of the Dead is an enigmatic experience with hints of Latin flair, making for a jam-packed, incredible fusion of genres and styles. This small collection of music is pretty close to, if not the pinnacle of genre creativity country music has ever seen. Like when you compare it to Golden Hour or hell, even Sailors, you'll think, wow, they didn't do much. This is an experimental mixtape that breathes new life in a genre that was being stifled by tackiness and gatekeeping. And one could argue helped inspired and encouraged all this new wave of experimental work we see today. The Zac Brown legacy is checkered, but it's projects like this that show exactly what they stood for and believed. So that's all I can say. It's an incredible piece of music and arguably the best album of 2013 for mainstream country music. I hope I've convinced you to check out just how amazing, experimentative, breathtaking, and simply powerful the Zac Brown Band can truly be all at once.